All right. So, hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this virtual sip and sail. My name is Kevin Giles. I am the travel advisor and owner of Next Chapter Voyages. And I'm here today with Steve Bajeka from AmaWaterways, who's going to tell us a lot more about what it's like to river cruise and also an itinerary that I am going to be hosting next summer. Um, so just to start a little bit about me, I am at the point in my life where my kids are starting to slowly move out of the house, and that frees up a lot of time for me to explore different ways of travel. So one of the things my wife and I like to do is to cruise, and river and ocean cruises are definitely something that we want to spend a lot of time with in the future. So I started this company because going through all the different cruise lines, itineraries, and all the different ships that are out there, there's a lot of noise in trying to figure out which travel fits your type of style that you want going forward. So like I said, I specialize in ocean and river cruising. Um, what you'll see here is some of the main areas that people like to ask about, and here's some of the cruise lines that I work for each. And today we're going to be talking more about the European rivers and um, what's it like working with me. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to understand how you travel, what you expect from uh, a cruise, and what you really want to get out of the trip in general. So there's no itinerary that I try to force you into. I really take the information you give me and really try to find that perfect ship for you, whether you're looking for an extended stay at port, you're looking for more a slower pace, or even if you want something that's a little more active and um, has a little bit more adventure to it. So that's it for me. And now I'm going to pass it on to Stephen for an overview of Ammo Waterways.
Thank you, Kevin. I'll share my screen. Okay, you can see that?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Kevin. I've known Kevin for about a year now since he's been in this side of the business, and we took a look at starting a group, helping him start a group. So next summer he's going to host a group in August on August 4th, sailing, a 7 day sailing with some pre and post in 2027. And he's chosen a really interesting itinerary. It's called the Medieval Treasures. It's a wine cruise, meaning that it'll be our normal itinerary, our normal nautical itinerary, and but it will we will feature more wines and we'll have a wine host on board. So we'll take a look at that. And the itinerary is a 7 night itinerary that sails from Basel, Switzerland to Nuremberg. The ship that we're using is the Ama Prima ship. This is a ship I've sailed on several times, actually, about 3 times, I would say, in the last 5 years I've sailed on the Prima. It's a 160 passenger ship, really well, very well appointed, decorated, has 2 restaurants, has a heated pool on the sun deck, has a beautiful guest lounge, has a fitness room, and what else? A gift shop and a salon. So a very nice ship. We use it on the Rhine for the last several years, and she's quite a popular ship. So that's what we're who we're sailing with. If you've not been on a river cruise, most of the staterooms, not all the staterooms, would look like this. Would be our signature twin balcony staterooms. It's queen size bedding. You've got a balcony there to the right in the image where you can sit outside and have your coffee in the morning or have a glass of wine with you in the evening. And then on the left, you have what's called in the industry a French balcony. Those doors open, but you don't have a balcony to step out on that side. So you've got the chairs on the inside, well-appointed rooms, plenty of space for all of your luggage and your belongings. And you have categories above this would be suites, and you have categories below this, which would be more standard size, um, uh, rectangular windows. So you've had standard windows in the categories below this category, but this would make up about 75% of the inventory on this particular ship. What's included on a river cruise? Obviously, one of the main reasons that people go on river cruises is because the menu changes every night. It's a European menu. There's fresh food stocks brought on the ship every single day from local merchants. Nothing's ever frozen. Um, we make our own breads. We make our own pastries. We do make our own ice cream. So ice cream, of course, is frozen. But other than that, nothing is frozen on board. And the menu changes every night depending on what country we're in, what region of the country we're in. And usually there's a beef offering and a seafood offering, and then you can do vegetarian and some other things. And there's also is a North American menu in case you're looking for something a little closer to home, strip steak, cheeseburger for lunch. You could always do that as well. But most of the menu here is the European menu. We have two restaurants. We have a main restaurant that comfortably seats all of our guests, but we also have a specialty restaurant, which is called the Chef's Table Restaurant in the rear or the aft of the ship that seats 28 guests. Everyone gets a chance to do this on a 7-night cruise at least once. It's included in the program. It's not an upcharge, and it's a 6-course tapas style presentation presented by the head chef on board and paired with local wines. So it's really nice. Visually, it's a wonderful experience, and the food also is spectacular. And the chef's table is also open for lunch. That's a different menu. That's an Italian menu, and that is first come, first serve for lunch. So some nice opportunities there. What's included with regard to beverages? Coffee, tea, and soft drinks are included all day long, all night long. We do include local European wines and beers for lunch and dinner, and also at the cocktail hour, which we call the sip and sail. And we also include some signature cocktails that are from the region and things like that, different cocktails every day. We serve different wines every day. That would be the featured wines. And we have beer. We have German beer on draft on tap, and then we have other bottled beers from the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, so on and so forth. Um, and the cocktail hour is the hour before dinner, and people come down, maybe get sort of cleaned up a little bit after their afternoon excursion, and then come down and spend an hour with the other guests. And we have a piano bar there. It's really nice. It's my favorite time of the day. And the wines on board are very nice European wines. Now, in this case, we're looking at a wine cruise, so we'll talk about the difference with that. But basically, all the wine and beer you can drink, lunch, dinner, and cocktail hour. Spirits are not included in this, and then after dinner, beer and wine are not included anymore after dinner. But I think the value is, you know, you can have a really good time through dinner on our dime. So that's kind of how we look at it. There is entertainment on board. There's onboard entertainment every night. Um, but it's a smaller ship than if you've been on an ocean ship. So people will come on board after dinner, local musicians, local singers, folk dance, so on and so forth. Again, usually reflecting the region that we're in. It's very intimate because the guest lounge it does hold 160 people, but not everybody will stay for every night's entertainment because everybody has different tastes. But it could range from classical music to folk music to other types of cultural music. So it's very subjective, but it's usually very thoughtful, and most people do attend. We have a wellness program on board, and we're not pushing this on people, but we do understand that some people either like to have a routine, they get up and do some yoga or stretching in the morning, or if you're going to be doing a hike with us or a bike ride with us, we carry touring bicycles on the ship. You might want to get up and do some yoga. We have two classes each morning, one at 6, one at 6:30. They're not competitive. and we're not recruiting people. We're just letting people know it's there. And for the people that have some type of regimen or routine at home, I qualify for that. I do appreciate because I do get up and do yoga every morning at home. So I do like having this option when I'm traveling. So it's pretty nice, especially when the weather permitting. And then service, again, 160 guests, crew of about 45. So it's a very nice ratio. Our crew will know your name by the second day on the ship. They'll know your name. They'll know what you're drinking, coffee in the morning, tea in the morning, what you take in your coffee. It's very personalized service. They take wonderful care of our guests. And then our cruise managers are the focal. They are your contact person, both on the ship and off the ship if you're doing any pre or post extensions with us. And the cruise managers are out and about with our guests during the day when they're out on their excursions. They're looking in on the different excursions, making sure that everything's going well. And this is my colleague and friend Uwe from Hungary. And it's nice that they actually are with our guests on the pre and the post extensions as well, because the other cruise lines that we compete with don't do that. They hire out local hosts. I think it's a nice thing that the cruise manager is your single point of contact for whether it's just a 7 night cruise or a 10 night cruise tour or a 12 night cruise tour. I think it's nice. It's a nice touch to have the same point of contact for your entire vacation. Now we're going to look at river cruising with the wine theme as a specialization, and we're going to look at the region that Kevin has chosen for this particular cruise, the Rhine and Main rivers. Again, I hosted a group on this itinerary in 2024, in the fall. I think it was October, if I'm not mistaken, and absolutely loved it. My wife was with me. I was working because I had clients with me. It's just a really cool itinerary. It's a little bit off the beaten path. So the Rhine is a very popular river. The Main River is less popular, but it affords you the ability to get to parts of Germany that you can only get to if you had a car, let's say, and you drove there, right? So I think it's a really, really thoughtful itinerary. Wine cruises are a little different than our standard cruises in that, yes, on the standard cruise, we include wine. We have some wine pairings, and we might do one or two tastings off the ship. But when you're doing a specialized wine cruise, now you're having onboard lectures and tastings with the wine host. The wine host is usually a vintner from the United States or Canada, usually from, I would say, for the U.S., usually from Napa or Oregon. Sometimes you see some folks from up in Canada as well. They will ship some of their wines, their American wines or Canadian wines, and then do a compare contrast on board of Canadian versus European, American versus European, old world, new world, that kind of thing. And it's very interesting. And they'll just you don't have to be a complete aficionado to appreciate this. They'll show you how to appreciate wine. They'll show you how to serve wine. They'll explain what's in the wines, things like that. And then also great pairings. What's the best food to go with the different types of wines. So a lot of very interesting there. There's some wine pairings. There's a special wine pair dinner on board, which I do, even though I've been going back and forth to Europe for over 35 years. I can always learn more about cuisine paired with nice wine. So I really do enjoy stuff like this. So that's a big plus. And then here's the itinerary, just on a very rudimentary map. It's Basel and Strasbourg, and then let's see. So Basel, you're on the Rhine. You're going north on the Rhine. Strasbourg is a beautiful city in France. Miltenberg is further up on the Main. You get up to Ludwigshafen, and then you make a left onto the Rhine and do Rudesheim, and then you kind of double back and you get onto the Main River, where you see Mannheim and Wertheim and Rothenburg and Miltenberg. These are medieval cities, small cities that still have the old town, the walls that defended these old cities back in the 14th century, 15th century. It's really amazing to go to these places. Würzburg is another place, Volkach, Bamberg. We were just talking earlier about the smoked beer in Bamberg. And I know it's a wine cruise and there's going to be some great white wines on this itinerary, but also let's not sleep on the beers, right, Kevin? So, in the daytime, I mentioned to Kevin earlier, I like to drink, I like to try the different European wines during the day. And then I usually flip over I like to try the beers during the day and flip over to the wines in the evenings. But so great opportunities for both here, right? So, and these towns and cities are so interesting. And they are so well preserved because during the Second World War, there was no strategic value in these places. So they were not bombed. So when you're going into these towns, you can get up onto the city walls and see the old cannon turrets and look down on the river. It's really cool stuff. I really enjoyed this itinerary, and I was happy to see that Kevin chose this itinerary for his group. Let's see. So that we'll look visually at what it looks like. So Basel, Switzerland is a beautiful city in Switzerland, in the southern part of Switzerland. No, sorry, in the northern part of Switzerland. And it's actually where our company's headquarters are. So we are headquartered in Europe, in the city of Basel. In the United States, we're out in California, but it's a really pretty city. The architecture is lovely. It's such a clean and well-run city. Spend a day there, and it's just lovely. We'll embark on our river cruise journey from Basel. Strasbourg is um, one of my favorite cities in France, maybe after only Lyon. Strasbourg is a very German-looking city. That's because for many centuries back and forth, it was part of Germany. It's a canal city that was fought over 5 times. Strasbourg changed hands between the French and the Germans in the last 250 years, and that's because the region, the Alsace region, is such a fertile region for wheat and dairy and wine. This is why the Germans always wanted it. And the last time the Germans had it was just before World War II. And at the end of World War II, they lost Strasbourg and the Alsace region for good, right? It's no longer part of Germany. But if you look at the architecture, the half-timbered homes here, they look quite Bavarian, don't they? So you think it's Germany, but it's not. You're in France here. And some of the best white wines from the regions do come from Alsace and Strasbourg, and mostly be Rieslings, right? You're looking at Rieslings that are relatively dry and very drinkable, I think. I like them a lot. But I do love the day we spend in Strasbourg. It's a walking tour. Um, if you look down around the bend there, you see these small bridges that sort of connect the canals. There's a couple of those small bridges that are still hand cranked drawbridges for like small canal boats or rowboats that go under them, if you can believe it. So it really dates back a long time, and it's a lovely city. Rudesheim is a small town, again a medieval town. When you walk through it, you think you're in the 15th century, and just both sides of the river now steep with vineyards. And you see the image on the right here is the gondolas that go above the vineyards, only about 30, 40 feet above. So your feet are sort of dangling over and you're going over these beautiful vineyards. And or you can do the hike. You can do a hike up to the high point is one of the options. Or you can do a bike ride on this day. So a really fun day. Rudesheim is a lovely town to visit after we do a hike or a walk or what have you. And a lot of nice um, local wine bistros and pubs. We give you free time each day. So you walk around with a guide, and then you have about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to yourselves to walk around. Um, Recently, I was in Rudesheim with my wife and daughter, maybe a year and a half or so ago. And we stopped and we split a bottle of Riesling. It was so nice that my daughter raved about it. We bought a couple of bottles from them and we brought them home with us. We also on that day, um, my grandson is a soccer player and he's a huge fan of, and I forget which football star it was, maybe Ronaldo. Might have been Ronaldo. And we looked around Rudesheim. We bought him a jersey. So we had a good day in Rudesheim that day. But the reason to bring that up is just to say you have time on your own to do stuff on your own. It's great to get the lay of the land from the local guide and learn about the culture and the history of the town or the city. But we also give people a chance to go and do things on their own. So we did really enjoy Rudolstein that day, and we made the most of our free time. The Rhine Gorge is the highlight of the sailing, of the nautical part of this particular itinerary. The Rhine Gorge is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning that it's pristine and the government wants to protect it and not let anything bad happen to this area. And basically, it is a 65-kilometer stretch of winding river, the Rhine River, where it's very windy, and going past all of these medieval towns. And we actually see I believe the exact number is 43 authentic German castles on both sides of the river, both banks of the river. And we always will make sure that the timing of when we're sailing through this stretch is just after lunch. And we'll ask the guests on the ship to come up to the sun deck, and we do a narration. The cruise manager will narrate and explain the different castles that we're passing in the towns and so on, and the history of some of these places. And it's a really, ooh and ah moment. People got their phones out and they're taking photographs and have with a glass of wine on board, let's say after lunch. Everyone's on the sun deck. Everyone's up on the sun deck taking photographs. It's a really interesting, and we've got love seats up there. We've got all kinds of comfortable furniture up there, and it's a really cool afternoon. It's usually the second full day of sailing on this itinerary, maybe into the third day. I'm not really sure. Bamberg, we talked about Bamberg earlier, Kevin. This is where you're going to find some of your smoked beer. And pretty much every pub you look at, they'll have in the windows what the smoked beer special is. It comes with a couple of sausages and some bread and some cheese. It's really good stuff. But look at this again, these sort of the half-timbered houses, very authentic. A lot of footbridges like this, and it's a very walkable town. It's you can probably walk the entire town in about 45 minutes, and then that's usually when we say, okay, take some time and do some shopping, window shopping, or go get something to eat. We feed you well on the ship, but there are lots of opportunities off the ship to to continue to continue eating and drinking. So I do really like Bamberg. I think it's a very special place. And again, a place that because now you're on the Main River, where most people can't get to easily. So it's done. The best way to do it is by river cruise, right? Because we dock right in Bamberg, right? So that's pretty interesting. And then Nuremberg. Nuremberg has a lot of history. I don't know if people remember the movie from the early 60s, Judgment at Nuremberg. The Nuremberg trials were in this particular city. And you can still, part of the walking tour actually takes you past the courthouse where they heard the arguments for and against the Nazi war criminals. And I think some of the building is still open for some judicial purposes, but it's very interesting. It's a nice town. Um, had I've had a couple of different excursions in this town and some nice restaurants in this town as well. Some great opportunities for beer is here as well. And then we have optionals. We pre and post optionals that you can do. So I didn't go through every single day and afternoon and morning of the cruise itinerary. I picked out the highlights of the cruise itinerary. So just for expediency's sake. But we also offer, in addition to the 7-night cruise, and these are optional, you can choose to do these. I think Kevin is leaning towards the Prague post stay, but we have you have an optional of 4 pre-nights in Lucerne and Zurich, Switzerland. And this is a really interesting, and we bring you there. We're with you the entire time. You're staying at nice 4.5 star, 5 star boutique hotels in both cities. Our cruise managers with you in both cities, and we have excursions in the mornings, and then your afternoons and evenings are free. You can do optional excursions with us as well. And the cruise manager is staying at the same hotel you are and has a hospitality desk to answer any of your questions about adding excursions or directions or anything you might need to know about these cities. This is what the itinerary looks like. So hotel check-in on day one, little big city tour, transfer to Lake Lucerne. You've got a cruise on Lake Lucerne, which is really interesting. And then there's a walking tour there, and then you depart. And when your trip begins and ends, we're with you. We meet you at the airport and bring you to the cruise ship. Or if you're doing the pre, we meet you at the hotel. We bring you to the hotels. And then when you're getting ready to go back to fly home, we bring you to the airport again. Our people bring you to the airport and actually go into the airport with you and don't leave you until you've got through you've got your boarding card and your bags are checked, and then we say have a safe trip home. I think once again, I think that's a really thoughtful way of doing it, and people appreciate it. So it's the little extra things that we do that our guests appreciate. And this is why we have quite high repeat guest percentage. So that's a nice thing. And then this one is the one I always lean into. This is usually what I do on this itinerary or similar itineraries on the Rhine or the Danube, where you can add Prague. Prague is not near. Nuremberg is on now. When you get to Nuremberg, you're at the beginning of the Danube River. You're in the upper Danube River, and you're not that far from Prague. It's about 2 to 2.5 hours north of the Danube River. So we have this wonderful 3-night post-cruise stay that we're offering on this itinerary. And we just choose really cool hotels. We're not looking for really modern hotels. We're looking for older, just really nice architectural buildings that have been turned into hotels within the last 10 or 15 years. And we include breakfast. And again, once again, the cruise manager's with you at a hospitality desk. You're in walking distance. This is the bridge that brings you from the city of Prague into the old city of Prague, right? And it's usually a couple of blocks from whatever hotel. Sometimes the hotels are right across from the bridge. Other times they're several blocks away. The last time we stayed there, my wife and I, we were probably a 4-block walk to this bridge. And once you go through that little archway there, you're in one of the oldest cities in Europe. And again, another city, in this case, that was untouched by Allied bombing during the Second World War because there were no military strategic values here, right? So I love walking around Prague. It's the old part of the city is very walkable. Great restaurants, great wine bars. Your dollar goes very far in this city. You can get a meal here. Um, and when you get your credit card bill back and you see the conversion from the Czech crown to USD, very reasonable. Also, you can buy wine at night. You buy some nice wine, the bottles of wine, bring them back to your hotel. Just some really good opportunities here and some great history. There's a lot of small museums here, lots of things to do. And I thoroughly enjoyed, and I've been several times. It's currently, I would say, Prague and probably Vienna are my two favorite European cities currently, and I've been traveling back and forth, like I said, for over 35 years. So this is just a special place to be. And here's the Prague 3 nights, just an overview of the itinerary. You check in day one. You check in because we break up the day driving up to Prague from the river, and then day two we got that Prague castle hike and the Golden City tour as well. The castle hike, I will tell you, is it's a challenge. You've got to be sort of hike hike ready for that. You've got to be sort of uh, a fit hiker, I would say. You can do it. It's not a 5. I think it's a 4 on a 1 to 5. But it is interesting. And then there you go. You've got the Czech beer tasting. The Czechs make a wonderful Pilsner beer that you don't really find those types. There are a couple of microbreweries that sort of knock off the Czech Pilsner style in this country. And actually, you can find some Czech beer in the U.S. if you go to a bigger outlet that carries a lot of European beers. And then you come home on day 4. So really nice. I know it's a wine cruise. I keep bouncing back and forth between wine and beer. Apologies, Kevin. We do want to feature the beer mostly, the wine mostly, but the beer is very good too. So this is the itinerary. And then, why book with Kevin? Because Kevin negotiated a very competitive offer here on the group for next August. And currently, the group offer is $1,500 off the cruise price per person. That is the highest discount that my company offers, and I don't see it that often. So that's very good. Good job, Kevin. And then another $250 as a group discount. Or option two would be the complimentary land on the post extension for Prague. That has a value of about $1,200 per person. That's a nice offer. And then you can add to that a group discount of $500 per person and prepaid gratuities on the ship. So I mean, monetarily, they're almost even. The offers are even. It just comes down to whether how much you value doing the post extension in Prague. So that's how you'd make that decision, as far as I can see. And then to get that offer, you'd make a $400 deposit by June 30th. So not far away, just another 4 or 5 days from now. Make a $400 per person deposit by June 30th, and those offers stand. And then after June 30th, we don't want you to think you can't book into this. It just means the offers will change. So we know the offers will change. We do know the complimentary land promotion will go away. I know that from working at AmaWaterways, but I don't know yet what the offer will replace, which offer will replace it. So we'll find out at the end of the month or the beginning of next month how the offers change. But if you're listening to this presentation or you view this presentation in the next couple of days and Prague is on your list, please make a decision soon, right? So, Kevin, anything that you want to add or any questions that um, at this point that you want to bring up or anything you want to discuss that I didn't cover?
Yeah, could you just talk a little bit more about the excursions? Is it just like the whole ship going out as a group on these walking
Good.
tours, or what do you offer for excursions?
So it's not the whole ship. So we split everybody up into small groups. They get to do their wine tasting. If they're following the wine host, they're doing wine tasting excursions. Typically, this would be going to small wineries, going in down to their wine cellar, or having a tasting actually out in the vineyard. Very authentic stuff. We have some other tastings that'll be offered off the ship. We have bicycles on the ship, as I mentioned earlier. You get to do that as well. You can do bike tours around, probably 4 or 5 days of bike touring. And these are great. This is a great itinerary to do bike tours. And then we also have hikes. You saw a few of the hikes mentioned. And I mean, everybody's different. This is why we offer different types of excursions and different interests on excursions, Kevin, right? So I've referenced myself. My wife and I hike a lot here in New England. We go to a lot of the state parks. We look forward to the hikes. I have colleagues and I know of other clients that just can't wait to do the bike rides. They're avid bikers. And then other people might be foodies or they want to just get the most out of the wine cruise and do tastings off the ship as well. So I think there's no best way to do it. It depends on the individual, right? But we want people to know that they have all of these different options. And even amongst the walking tours, we have what we call a gentle pace walking tour, which is for folks that are maybe have a mobility challenge or don't get around as quickly as others. I mean, these are very old cities. You're not going to find ramps. You're not going to find elevators. So, sometimes the grade is tough. Sometimes the pavement you're walking on, it's cobblestone. It's very old cobblestone, so it's uneven. So we'll take care of the folks that walk a little slower or maybe have a more difficult time with the grade. And then we'll have a normal pace walking tour. And then when we get done with all this and we've separated people out by the interests and their pace, let's say, you have typically excursions with 12 or 15 guests per local guide, which is a very good number. Other companies we'll have one main walking tour where there'll be 50 people or 60 people with one guide, which is not optimal, right? So that's a great question. I think there's something for everyone. I also, again, I'm repeating myself now, but the itinerary is so unique, and these are parts of Germany that you maybe see in old movies, but not a lot of people from the States have been to some of these. Bamberg and Miltenberg and Regensburg. These are places that not a lot of people have seen touristically, and the also the cuisine here is very German too. So if you're into um, bratwurst and things like that, and pork belly and things that are really healthy for you. It is really it's a fun itinerary. You can have a lot of fun here, and we don't want to scare you off with all the pork. I mean, there's a lot of really healthy options on board the ship. Fresh fish, salmon every morning at breakfast. Yogurt, and we make omelets to order. We've got a chef in the dining room for breakfast. Fresh fruits, Europeans, a lot of grilled vegetables in the mornings, really good stuff. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are spectacular. But again, there are opportunities off the ship to taste some local specialties, which I never pass up those opportunities. So I do genuinely I do love this itinerary. Good job, Kevin, on that. So um, anything else we want to discuss?
So,
Michael, you're on the call. Do you have anything you want to add? Okay.
all right. So there's some days on a trip where, maybe I've enjoyed too many wines and the next morning I sleep in and um, I'm not really in the mood for a guided tour. Can I take out the bikes or is there time that I can actually go out, be outside of a tour and just kind of explore on my own and
Absolutely. So you have the AMA app on your phone. It gives you exactly where we are in relationship to the town, the city. It shows you where we're docked. We have little easy to use maps at the front desk for people that, and it's not uncommon. And people will say, I slept in. I'm not going to do the walking tour today. I looked this up and I want to visit this cathedral or this shopping area, this or that. You can do that. You can take the bikes out on your own as well. Some people go on their own hikes. So typically on this itinerary, we're not far from where we're going anyway. So it's very walkable. Sometimes you might have to cross a bridge to get onto the into the inner part of the town or something like that from where we're docked. But typically it's very easy to get into town, and it's very hard to get lost. If you can find the river, you're going to find where the ships are docked. It's really hard to get lost. And you also know, Kevin, you know the nautical schedule because again, if you've got the app on your phone, you know exactly what time we're sailing. You can't really screw it up and miss the boat, right? So it is common. Again, when I travel with my adult children, they're not that crazy about doing escorted walking tours. They typically will take a map and just or take a bicycle and explore on their own. That's what they do. And we'll meet them back for dinner, right? So, or for the happy hour. So,
and I think I saw like one city listed twice. Is there overnights in any of the towns that we'll be visiting?
no, on this itinerary there are no overnights that I know of. Strasbourg. At this time of year, no. Maybe later in the year when we're doing the City Escapes program, there's a couple of itineraries that spend more time in Strasbourg or Basel. But on this itinerary, no. If you saw it listed twice on the map, maybe it was a duplicate, or I'm not sure, but no.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think that was all. So, Stephen, I thank you very much for this presentation and this great information. Thanks for taking everybody through the itinerary that I'll be hosting next summer. And for those who will be watching this later on if you want more information about AmaWaterways in general, or if you would like to explore more about this itinerary. Just either visit nextchaptervoyages.com or email me at kevin.giles@nextchaptervoyages.com. Thanks
Fantastic.
again.
Good
We'll see
job, Kevin.
everybody.
Okay, take care.